Okay, in lesson 8.4, we're going to learn about special products. And special products are whenever you multiply specific binomials times binomials. And you're going to be able to find those. Those are called the squares of sums and differences. And then we're also going to find our products of sums and differences. So sometimes you have some pairs of binomials that look like this, where you have a 2r plus 24 inside parentheses. So it's a quantity of 2r plus 24 squared. And they follow a specific pattern to expand that out. Using that pattern, it's going to make your multiplying easier if you recognize the pattern. You can do it without knowing the shortcuts, but it's just much easier if you do remember the shortcuts on how to simplify. You may also have where you have two sets of parentheses, where you have an a plus a b, but this a and this a are the same. This b and this b, they're the same. But what you may notice is you're going to have one of your sets of parentheses has a plus and one of them has a minus. So that's also going to give you a nice shortcut. So the first thing we're going to do is where you have the square of a sum. So that means if we have something a plus b quantity squared, that 2 really means that you have two different sets of parentheses of a plus b. That shortcut that you can do then is where you take your first term and you square it. So this first term squared, that's going to be part of your answer. You get 3 terms in your final answer. To get this middle term, what I do is I take 2 times b times a, and that gives us our middle term. And then finally for your third term, you just take this last term and square it. So for example, if we take our x, or if we have an x plus 4 quantity squared, that means we either write out twice like this, and then you could go through the whole foiling thing, or you could just skip this step, and we could say, we'll take our first term, and we're going to square it. So that gives us an x squared. For the middle term, that's going to be 2 times 4, which is 8, times x, which is an 8x. That's your middle term. And then for your third term, you can just take this 4 and square it, and that gives you 16. So let's try the shortcut. I'm not even going to write them out twice. You can if you want, but I'm going to show you the shortcut because it'll make your life much easier. So if I want to simplify a 7z plus 2 quantity squared, I'm going to have 3 terms in my final answer. I'm going to have a 7z squared. So I have to square the 7, which would give us a 49. I have to square the z, which gives us z squared. So there's my first term. Now I need my middle term. My middle term is just 2 times 2, which is 4, times 7z, which is a 28z. So that's going to give us a plus 28z. And then my last term is just taking my 2 and squaring it. So 2 squared is a 4. That's going to be our solution. That, my friends, is much faster than writing out 7z plus 2 times 7z plus 2 and then going through the whole FOIL method. 7z times 7z, that's a 49z squared. So I'm going to write out and just show you that you can still get the same answer. 7z times a 2, that gives us 14z. 2 times a 7z gives us another 14z. And then 2 times a 2, that gives us a 4. So you combine the middle terms, you get a 49z squared plus 28z plus 4. See how it's the same answer as what we have up here. However, this was done much faster. And it's just a special product where you have a binomial that is quantity squared. So the next one, let's try it out and see what we can get here. So using our shortcut, we're going to take our 3x, and we're going to square that. So 3 times 3 gives us a 9. X times x is x squared. To find our middle term, we have to take 2 times 4y, which is an 8y. 8y times 3x, that is a 24xy. And then to get your third term, you just take 4y and square it. 4 times 4 is 16, and then you have y squared. That is how you can use a shortcut when you have a binomial that is a sum.